The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd. It's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is C.A. Newry and I shall be your host for today. It's going to be an open line Tuesday. That means you can call in. Call in and we will be happy to debate with you, exchange some ideas, whatever is trending in the news or on social media. This is first time in as many days, Aaron, that I got the day's date right. Because I've been all over the place trying to find what the day's date is. I'm very impressed that I know that today is Tuesday and the day is the 22nd. There's a number of things trending in the news. There's one day after Easter Monday. I'm not sure why it's Easter Monday. I normally call it Beach Day Monday. Of course, I went to the beach with the family. But do you know why it's Easter Monday? Because I understand Easter Sunday. That's when our Lord raised from the dead. But why is it Easter Monday?
That's when they finished up the paperwork.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I don't even ask any more questions on why is it Easter Monday.
And then remember the way that they acknowledged the day was different. Like a day started in the evening, the day before. Like so, Sabbath start on the Friday sundown. The days is from sundown to sundown, right? And so Sunday sundown to Monday sundown probably made it a part of the official. We had some more texts from the previous conversation about the Pope that came in.
We can share that. Go ahead. Let me just get this call up because the person been calling for a while. Mm-hmm. And then we go straight to the text. And just so we can conclude that conversation about Catholicism, the Pope, what's next for them? How does it impact the world? How does it impact Bahamians in general? But go ahead, call up before we start. Caller, go on. Hold on. Go ahead.
All right. So here's a text. The text says that another caller come right in. Pope Joan was female, and she served from 855 to 857.
Yeah, and that is plausible. I'm not saying that is not true or true, and only because they had all kind of strange. Because popes was married back then and had all kind of relationships.
They were black and everything.
They were just different. Christianity was just different back then.
You know, the Eastern, what we now know as the Eastern Orthodox Church, had a sacrament of same-sex marriage.
What?
To go to the call, and then I have some even more interesting things to talk about.
They had a sacrament of what? They can't let us slide. Sacrament of what? You just saying say it no more?
Same-sex marriage.
What?
Eastern Orthodox Church.
They had a same-sex marriage?
This documented, yeah. Remember when Putin opened up the halls and showed all the icons and all the images, the holy images, the sacred images of Madonna, Jesus, Mary, Madonna, and the saints and all of them? They were all they weren't just black, they were black.
Yeah. That's a
they were black.
The material is working with. Just change color. Miracles. No? Let's go to the caller. Go ahead, caller. Guardian Radio AM.
Hey, Monsieur, how you doing?
Doing well, man.
Hey, question, right? Mm-hmm. Which day you think was the best beach day for Easter? Good Friday or Easter Monday?
Which day it rained?
You can't go on the beach on Good Friday. That's just blasphemous. That's like having Junkanoo for Easter.
Okay, so we going with Easter Monday then?
Easter Monday is the best day.
Okay, good. And second thing, right? Y'all can't drive.
Yeah.
Boy, y'all can't drive. I have a question. Mm-hmm. You think people even trying to practice common sense on the road?
No.
Because I've seen the accidents during this holiday, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just totally ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense.
No. Listen, do you know it's against the law to drive while using your cell phone?
With using a cell phone?
While using your cell phone. You know it's against the law to drive while using your cell phone.
Of course.
And even before they...
We like to practice everything we do in the United States, right? That's actually one of the most common things that cause traffic accidents and death in the United States, driving with the cell phones.
Mm-hmm. Passed a specific law, right? Like we made it explicitly clear, like pellucidly, but different. We always had driving without due care and attention as a potential offense. So even then... police officer, you first of all, you get charged with driving without due care and attention when an accident occurs. A police officer could have determined that you holding your cell phone at that time constituted a lack of attention and that resulted in the accident. And so, I put out a stat, I was just cracking jokes on my Facebook wall, and I was being conservative. I think that 65% of us need to have our licenses revoked. 65% of Bahamian drivers just have it
I
revoked.
think I'll go a little higher than that.
Yeah.
I think 75.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
During the Easter break, there were a number of parties. Hold on, Aaron. I want to add into your conversation about traffic, right? One of them was like a cooler fed. I'm not sure what it is, but you bring a cooler full of rum. And I'm
Right.
trying to say, if you drive to the event, right? One is I didn't know you could have concerts during Easter and Lent, and that's a religious thing with me, right? I thought everything is suspended culturally until it's over. But then to have, my word, a debauchery type theme during Easter and Lent, and no church, no Christian people, no.
All right, so let's
said,
start
hey,
here.
hey, hold
Yeah.
on, you can't be having this during Easter and Lent, right? And especially drinking so much.
Let's start here. You have a cooler. You have a cooler party because you don't have a license to sell alcohol. So you tell people bring your own alcohol. Bring your own cooler. Bring your own alcohol. You don't have a license to sell alcohol. I can't sell. So maybe they thought, well, we're not selling liquor in the Easter season, so we could get away with it. But here's the thing: don't never ever call another event Collide. Just don't call it Collide. Did you see all the collisions after the event?
Yeah. Would it be wrong or entrapment? See the word entrapment? If police station there after the event is over and stop people for driving intoxicated? Would it
No, of course it wouldn't be
It
entrapment.
wouldn't be entrapment?
I mean, it would be a miracle.
be that they do it?
Yeah.
I mean, one would assume that they'd be out there. And in fact, the patrons see them out there while they're going to the event. Say, oh, Lord, when I come out, I can make sure I can't be drunk.
Yeah. Imagine. Anyway, first of all, here's this. The event was poorly organized.
That's there to do.
No, it's not there to do. It's our to do. Because it spilled outside of the event venue, right? You having a cooler fed. That means you telling people to bring their own alcohol. So here's what when you sell, the bartender could cut you off.
Yeah.
The bartender could say, no, King, you've had enough.
Okay, you're drunk.
Yeah, we ain't
You loud
selling
and
you
you
no
noisy.
more alcohol.
You're falling down.
Right. What were the protocols for entry into the event? Did they have a limit of a limit of volume per person? So we're not letting anybody bring in more than half a gallon of liquor, straight liquor, right? We're not letting anybody bring in individually more than a gallon of mixed drink, right? So that's the first thing is a cooler fete, a cooler party. You have that because you don't have a license to sell alcohol, so people bring their own alcohol. So when you saying to people you bring in your own alcohol, how do you compel them to moderate their own behavior?
But let's go to the call. But I ask you that. Why women wearing bikinis at a cooler fete and there's no pool?
Because it's spring break.
There's no pool. There's no water. What you wearing bathing suit for?
That's the next thing. If I was the organizer,
Especially in a place with rape culture. I just concerned. I said, was there a pool?
you know when they say the average is satisfactory and I say no, it's not? Let's go to the call and then I can explain the rest after.
I'm concerned with the women, them. Like nobody else was. Anyway, let's go to the call. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, what's up, NCA?
Doing well, man.
Morning, Aaron Green.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I hear you always throwing about some stuff for the papacy prior to this section here. I think a Pope of color is coming up next. He has an excellent chance because Cardinal Peter Turkson of Ghana, he was one of the front runners before the Argentine Pope last time, and Cardinal Louis Tegel of the Philippines. They were both in the top 3 or 4 top runners for the papacy last time. So I think we're going to see a Pope of color this very next time. Now, my pet peeve for the day is the hospital. I wonder what is the hospital turning into, because now you can't get your bone or certain procedures done because they telling you the hospital don't have this, or you got to pay. When you go to the eye clinic, they telling you the machines ain't working, so you got to pay to their private clinic. I mean, what in the world is going? What is the hospital turning into? The hospital is supposed to be a public, a free public hospital authority for poor people. or people who can't afford it. But everything, every section, not the ENT. I tried to get an appointment to see the ENT clinic. That's one time you could have just walked in there and get it that same day. Now they got to review. That appointment must be 6 months to a year later.
Because you're
what the hell is going on?
And Marvin, first I want to commend you for being an advocate for trying to improve the hospital in general. You always call in, you always agitate, and I appreciate that. Recently, the authorities at the hospital have been lauding of their accomplishments, saying they billing this, they changing this system, and you tend to tell a different story. So clearly, there needs to be more advocates speaking about their personal experiences at the hospital. You mentioned about the public hospital is supposed to be for poor people. I'm not sure if that's necessary. Is that so?
Yes.
I mean,
the Pope said so.
You're supposed to pay something, though.
The Pope said so.
Healthcare in the Bahamas is free.
Is it healthcare free?
Yes, it is.
It's supposed to be
Surely
free.
you got to pay something.
No, it's like school. School is
that's
free,
why
but you
it's
got to
called
pay
public.
the administrative fees.
That's why it's called Public Hospitals Authority. It is free. Every time you pick up a potato chip or you pay for a chocolate, you pay in the taxes. That's what pay the police, the hospital, and all of that.
And then there need to be a discussion on who uses the hospital. Is it Bahamians who are using the hospital,
story.
especially when it's free?
Well, no, because
that's a different
everybody
story.
in the country pays taxes, so I don't want to entertain that argument.
I just
if
said-
everybody in the country paying the same type of tax, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you got to wait 2 years, or I'm exaggerating there, for an appointment
you know-
because of the demand. So many people.
No, it's not because of the demand. It's because of the lack of supply.
That's lack of supply costing it, not the demand. That so much people
Or
ill.
poor management, Eric.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Poor management.
But Marvin, I appreciate it. I appreciate you
Yeah, man.
constantly calling
Okay.
and reminding us to agitate for better systems at the hospital, because we tend to forget, especially when people bragging and say, "Man, we plan to open this wing." When the new hospitals would start, Bill? Aaron? Any update? I know we had a ground date yet. Any date? Did we secure the money?
I saw someone reference Dr. Darville's name this morning in a WhatsApp group. I wanted to follow that because I was hoping that that's what they were speaking to, but I didn't see anything of that nature in today's paper. The last I remember seeing in print in reference to the new hospital, AK specialty clinic, is that they're still working on it.
But we have about a couple $1 million assigned to PMH, though. We secured that money. That's budgeted.
No, remember we got a note saying that the $75 million that Dr. Darville referenced, we would see that reflected in the upcoming budget, and that perhaps he misspoke. Perhaps he misspoke.
Let's quickly go through these texts so we finish our conversation.
And then I wanted to, so here's it. We got the Joan text. Here's a text. Have any of you read the writings or letters of Martin Luther, the German reformer? That is, I thought they were spot on. Enough respect to him for painting a true picture of Catholicism. Okay, so just before we transition, here we go. Just before we transition, Paula White. Trump said he's going to name her as the head of the White House Faith Office.
Remind us who Paula White is. That a lady who saw the African angels coming to win the election? That's Paula. Okay. What Paula White doing now?
She said that all Christians should be mandated to conduct a pilgrimage to Israel. But she was also talking to Benjamin Netanyahu, the atheist. So I don't mean.
And Netanyahu who's Jewish? How you be atheist and Jewish?
Because Jewish is
not a religion. What? Anyway, finish reading the text. So anyway, she has an official position. The United States are paying Paula White now. What is her title?
I'm not sure if she's been confirmed in the position.
And did the African angels ever show up?
I'd be sleeping
So
when them things be happening, sir.
It's be early in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Deep in my sleeps.
You missed it.
Trump, okay, so in February, he tapped her as head of the White House Faith Office. 6 days ago, televangelist finds herself a home in Trump's White House, but she also suggested. I mean, it was more of like a declaration that Christians should engage a pilgrimage. They should have to engage a pilgrimage to Israel.
I mentioned Israel. You're more like me in Jerusalem. Christians like going to Jerusalem. They want to see where our Lord has walked.
Only broke people is go to Jerusalem. I go Israel.
Yeah, they're a different place altogether.
Yeah. As a text, you know what? I realized this weekend there's no mandate to eat fish and bread on Good Friday. I can't believe they had me entrapped all these years. He said, it might be nice if you remember me by doing this, but if you're starving and you see a big fat bullfrog, don't die.
Was Kentucky open up on Good Friday?
I hope so.
People eat chicken.
People need triple pay.
Yeah. Double pay, actually. But yeah.
There's only double?
It's only double.
It
It's
ain't
double
triple?
and time and a half. Time and a half is overtime and double is on holidays.
You sure it ain't triple on holidays?
No, it ain't triple on holidays.
What about when the Queen died? People didn't get triple.
That was not even a holiday.
Okay, here's another text. Great show as usual. People are now turning right at the red light. Buddy, you late.
Yeah, you've been complaining about that.
No, you late. They're going straight through the red light now.
It's becoming dangerous now.
No, yeah, it's extremely dangerous.
And police is not policing because the police are turning right and left now too.
Yeah, and black plates with white numbers on it,
Yeah.
turning left
Yeah.
on red. You know what I realize? That police stations are no longer a deterrent.
Yeah. Let me throw this in and throw a wrench. Has there been an update with the traffic accident with the judge who accidentally?
You mean, hold on, you mean the vehicle assigned to a senior magistrate, a senior judge?
I like how you corrected that.
Yeah.
Accidentally ran
involved in a collision that resulted in the death of one of those. I didn't say, nobody said accidentally
It was an
in
accident.
the article.
The vehicle.
September 9th, 2024, West Bay Street, a vehicle assigned to a senior judge involved in a collision vehicle. The driver of the vehicle, they felt a bump in front of them, right? So they were behind the vehicle being operated by the person who transpired in the accident. Yeah, we haven't learned the name of
Or conclusion.
the person.
Even if they won't tell me the name,
No, it can't be concluded.
you won't get no name.
It cannot be concluded without us knowing the name of the individual who was operating the vehicle.
It'll be like the declaration of MPs. We can never know. Let's go to the caller here while you continue reading these texts. Okay, that caller gone. Go ahead with the text, Aaron.
The next text say the hospital was always a mess. That's it. For right. Oh, wait, hold on. Good morning. You keep talking. I think this one needs to be read.
One of the things I find interesting is that the government's move to modernize services. I see water and sewage is now moving from every 3 months to every month, a monthly bill. Mm-hmm. What is your average 3-month bill for water and sewage? Throw out any number there, Aaron, just for this conversation.
It low.
It's low, right? I think mine's be maybe $50.
But I only use city water when the power is off and on.
Yeah, but my point is every 3 months is like $50, and I'm trying. And my first instinct of why they're changing it is because after 3 months people forget to pay, but if you can do it monthly, you can remind people that hey, you got to pay your $12.
You could do the same thing if they're paying every 3 months. You could remind them.
But I'm saying, is it more expensive for water and sewage if they got to be printing out bills every month now instead of every 3 months during that calculation?
You think
I want to know what was their reasoning.
You think they're going to be printing bills, eh?
They don't print bills either?
I'm not.
Just you have to know and come pay your...
You know you owe money, right? So just come check.
Come check.
Yeah,
Just come
that's
check.
how life is on plantation. Okay, here's the text. Good morning, Mr. Newry and Miss Green. Miss your traffic report. Please inform gas truck drivers to be mindful of the type of vehicle they are driving. MV2964, they call in a plate number. Said they wasn't driving well the other day. Listen, I call a plate number. Let me just say this. I scared on the road when I see gas truck drivers. You know what frightens me more than anything? You ever observe the operator of a gas truck and then realize they're wearing slippers?
Yeah.
That is frightening.
I see, as we continue to read some text, there's a graduation for the National Youth Guard. This is a big thing because we've been talking about the National Youth Guard and trying to understand exactly what is the mandate for the National Youth Guard?
We were told that the National Youth Guard would be called upon to assist disasters.
But now they graduate. They graduated now. And we can have that article, if you could pull that
What do you
article
mean, but
up.
now they graduate? That's what they could do when they
They
graduate.
graduate now, though.
But that's what they're going to do when they graduate.
We ain't know what they plan to do. That's why we can have this
That's
discussion.
what they told us they were going to do.
They can be...
They told us that the National Youth Guard, among other things, would be called upon to assist national services in natural disasters and catastrophes.
Then I'll ask you, what is the National Youth Guard?
That I don't know. But let's read from this article in today's Nassau Guardian. More than 100 complete National Youth Guard program training. 104 cadets of the National Youth Guard program finished a 10-week training. Are we talking about the same National Youth Guard?
This seems different.
Because this
It's
one,
clearly more than 10 weeks gone by.
since
The first
we were
time.
told that the first cohort,
Yeah. So this may
We're
be
taking
cohort,
on.
Cohort 3, cohort 4.
well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. 104 cadets of the National Youth Guard program finished a 10-week training program last Thursday. The cadets performed their final basic community emergency response team, that's CERT, training simulation before Prime Minister Philip Davis and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Raymond King, among others, at the RBDF's base in Coral Harbor. The simulation showed the cadets' preparedness and disaster response, including search and rescue, fire safety, and medical operations. Davis, stick a pin. Just stick a pin for a second, because on the front of the Tribune, you have Cubans take home pay less than 16%.
Yeah, we can talk about that soon.
And you're telling me that these young people have been trained in disaster response, including search and rescue, fire safety, and medical operations. We're not creating the same sort of program within
Hold on.
the simulation. Okay, Davis recognized the cadets as the future of the country and encouraged them to be positive role models in the community. Quote, as I indicated to them, the National Youth Guard.
Yeah, that is a gang. But that's, he's just saying words. Don't hop on that, man. Just continue to read, man. They're a gang. Move on.
A gang that everyone has the ability to join instead of those that are wreaking havoc in the country. Because, I've been trying to join a political party for years now and I can't. He said during a ceremony, quote, people like to belong, and in this instance, they can belong to the National Youth Guard program, from which positive values will be instilled in them to make sure they become productive citizens in our country, close quotes. National Youth Guard program coordinator Sonia Miller said many hours of training aided in the successful simulation. Quote, our National Youth Guards receive an abundance of training, especially in the areas of disaster management, quote, Coach Miller said. Quote, they also receive training in technical skills. We're partnering with BTVI, and they also receive basic military training. They have a whole gamut of training that they received within the initial 10 weeks of onboarding with the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, close quotes. When asked why this program was personal to him, Davis said, quote, for too long we have been broadsiding our young people instead of attempting to uplift them. We continue to categorize them as persons that are not productive, lazy, and are not interested in anything positive.
That's not necessarily. Anyway, go ahead. Do we say about all youth?
He's talking about his peers in the party. He must be talking about his peers in the party. We continue to categorize them as persons that are not productive, lazy, and are not interested in anything positive. Today, this morning, this initiative demonstrates that this is not true, close quotes. Miller said some of the Youth Guard cadets that live on Grand Bahama have also assisted with large-scale fires, especially the blaze that occurred on the island a few weeks ago.
Remember we asked with them? Did you see any pictures, visual write-up on this about them?
Liability is?
It's just like after fact, after people asking, where are they? Where are they? Now you find out, yeah, they was there, just that we didn't see them. They weren't in the photo op. But everybody else was in the photo op.
How old these young people are?
But if we can get there, go ahead. Because I still want to know what's their mandate.
Once finished with the program, cadets
There you
are
go.
invited to participate in a 4-week internship program with the RBDF.
What's the internship for? They're invited.
Additionally, the program helps cadets to gain jobs outside of law enforcement. The cohort consists of 59 men and 45 women. The program was established in 2022.
So we have previous graduates. Because 2022, 3, 4, 5, that's 3 years worth of cadets.
I mean, there's 2 paragraphs left in this article. And in none of them do they list how many graduates have already passed through the program.
And what have they been doing since the program?
The program was established in 2022 and is designed to teach young people the skills needed to assist during a disaster or an emergency. The program targets people ages 18 to 25. I'm going to...
You finished yet? Because I want to ask
Yes.
you. Okay. So they're from 2022. We could assume that...
No, they're not from 2022.
Not this particular group. I'm saying we had it from 2022.
We don't...
No? This is from... They say it started in 2022. So we
The
assume...
program started in 2022.
Yeah. So there's different cohorts. So minimum of... If you have one cohort per year, 22...
It says the cohort. It doesn't say this cohort.
It can't be for the whole 4 years they do.
No, it certainly can't because the article indicates that it's a 10-week training program.
So we can assume...
No, we can't.
So what can we assume? We gotta assume something. What do we know?
Nothing.
We gotta know. Anyway. Oh, Lord have mercy.
We could assume that something is not right here.
But we need to interrogate what... I don't know.
But I tell you what, the program started in 2022.
Yeah.
We have interacted with young people who have said that they are part of the National Youth Guard training program.
Yeah.
You and I have interacted with these people.
Yeah.
We've seen no story about them. And reading the words in the article, it says the cohort. It doesn't say this cohort. This cohort would suggest that there are other cohorts.
We'll come back to that. We're going to interrogate this some more, ask some questions, and then find out, should we care that Cuban doctors and nurses only take home 16% of their salary? Should we even be concerned? Let them buggers take home 16%.
Some government workers only taking home 5% of their salary.
No, they pay bills without us yet, but it's theirs. It's their bills. The 16% of them.
The 84%, none of that's being used to pay.
That's their government own.
But to pay housing, accommodation,
that's the
food.
government own.
So you're saying they only have 16% of their pay to take care of themselves?
Take care of themselves.
And pay the rent,
And pay
and
the rent.
transportation, and
There you
food
go.
while in the Bahamas?
Should we care about that?
But then they got to be making $7,500 a month.
Watch that. Guardian Radio AM. We'll be right back.
Just sign in and have a seat, please. They'll call you in for your x-ray shortly.
That's why they call it a waiting room. You won't have that problem at Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center or Imaging at Grosvenor. We never schedule multiple appointments, so you'll be in and out in no time. And if your initial screening reveals a concern, our radiologist can conduct an alternative screening right then and there. Call 328-8157 to schedule an appointment at Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center or Imaging at Grosvenor today.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service and gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come, experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
Pinder is carrying a new line of tile, the Sky series of porcelain. Comes in 4 colors, Sky Noir, Sky Azure, Sky Gris, and this one, Sky Glance. In this particular tile, I think you'll find coin gray, silver gray, cloud gray, and gray. All of these are seamlessly blended to make the Sky Glance one beautiful tile. The Sky series of porcelain comes in 2 formats, 24 by 24 at $5.30 a square foot and 12 by 24 at $5.25 a square foot.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
get catch, cause me get catch your vibes. Ah, you cause me get bad, cause me get bad.
Welcome back to Guardian Radio AM. Sometimes you got to cost them to get catch. And today I'm trying to understand exactly what this National Youth Guard about. So that's what I'm going to take. That's another 3-4 minutes to ask you 2-3 questions.
You think they're going to assign the National Youth Guard to traffic enforcement?
That's possible. But let me
Since it's a natural disaster?
Let me ask you this. They say they help you get jobs, right? Or prepare your resume.
Let me read the sentence from the article.
Go ahead, read the sentence.
Additionally, the program helps cadets to gain jobs outside of law enforcement.
So they're not helping you get jobs. They're giving you skills to get jobs outside
we don't
law
know.
enforcement.
We don't know. We don't know if they're saying, well, the skills that you garnered here should assist you in getting a job outside of law enforcement. We don't know if they have a employment program where they find jobs and assign, right? They find employers who are willing to take people on in jobs.
My next question to you is,
if they're helping people fix up their resume.
Are the National Youth Guard being paid? You graduate from the system. Are you like seconded and say, don't worry, you on a monthly stipend. You go find a job wherever you want. But when there's the emergency, you know repaying you. That means whatever you're doing, you stop and you return to help.
I think as the program was initiated, I read that the participants would be receiving stipends, but I don't think there was an indication that they would be stipended past the training. Here's a text specific to this conversation. The government pays for them.
See, that's
okay,
different
Dexter, do me a favor. Like, what general sector are you in? Don't tell me the name of your business, but what general sector are you in?
But we had people here from the National Youth Guard doing training. We understand they're getting a stipend for the training. I'm talking about post-graduation. They're finished now. They graduated.
Pause.
They graduated.
What were they doing here?
Training.
Doing what?
Well, that's their business.
No, it's not their business. It's our business, right? Were they, see, because you could tell me, okay, they were here interning in the broadcasting or journalism sections.
They're getting skills.
And they were learning how to broadcast information during an emergency. Maybe that.
They're getting skills. Let's go to this caller quickly. And so we can go back to text, all kind of text there. Go ahead, caller. Guardian Radio AM.
Newry, forgive me for calling back. But what I want to say, right? The government need to stop people or have the shops to, when they're selling genetically modified stuff, to put a sign up saying that those stuff are genetically modified, because people don't like, at least I don't like buying stuff, bringing it home and don't know that they're genetically modified until I brought them home. That's indecent.
But and
I just don't want to walk back to the food store.
We need legislation that mandates that products containing GMO ingredients and genetically modified. There's a genetically bioengineered ingredient.
The thing is, they're killing people diplomatically.
We don't know that yet, Brinkman. We can't go that far. As hilarious as it sounds.
And before you get to the tech for the National Youth Guard, are they employed by the government? I'm talking about people who graduated, not people who go into training. They're graduated, they find a job working to one of the hotels. Do they have like a stipend and getting a salary from the hotel separately?
Right, okay, so what you're saying is because we expect them to be able to operate in a capacity for responding to natural disasters, is the government stipending them so that to maintain them in that service. When a natural disaster occurs, the employer knows that this member of staff is going to be seconded. They got to go back to the National Youth Guard and they got to do some firefighting or storm prep or storm recovery work.
And they mentioned Grand Bahama and said some National Youth Guard members were employed to do that.
Uh-huh.
Were they working someplace else and were they summoned to say come in and assist? When they were summoned, what did they come and do exactly? Because, we have the Defense Force, and I was still debating on what exactly did the Defense Force go into Grand Bahama to do when they don't have a fire engine to assist, right? We find out they don't have a fire engine to assist. So when they came, were they just directing traffic? Would they say, hey, don't come this way? So I want to know, what is the...
Run the pipe from the east side of the highway over to the west side of the highway where the blue hole is, so they could pump water.
That's what they did?
I don't know if that's what they did, Mr. Newry.
God
I'm just
mercy.
saying that's the equipment that they have, though.
Yes.
See, they have a pump like that.
Yeah.
They could have done that.
And running several hundred miles to do it. Let's go to the
Across the highway.
Across the highway while the car's driving. But let's go to the let's go to the caller and read the text.
Traffic
after
had
that.
to stop anyway.
The traffic did not stop.
It's supposed to stop.
Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Newry, and good morning, Ms. Green.
Morning, sir.
I hear you talking about the National Youth Service or something like that, right?
The National Youth Guard
Youth
Program.
Guard or something. Yeah, couple years back when President Obama was president, they had this thing that they call Obama Guard, right? And had this something to do with the same kind of premise. And they said that this is what you're going to see popping up in all type of different countries too. Because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, a few months ago, it was suggested, a suggestion was made that you should arm them. And the Minister of National Security said he did not object to the proposal.
Okay, at this point we can stop regarding that, right? Because that's absolute foolishness.
But see, the thing about it is a purpose for them, and the reason for them is that whenever, like you said, like you was saying, Ms. Green, you were talking about for like firefighting or disaster and different things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you can consider to be a disaster. You see? So whenever there's a crisis of those type of a magnitude where society is in great chaos and different things, and they need someone to be patrolling, those same individuals could be the neighborhood watchman for like the international system. That's what they're being prepped for.
Thank you very
All
much.
right?
Thank you. We need somebody to snitch on the people driving bad. Let's have a national snitch on bad drivers guard, please. The texter indicated that the sector that they are in is woodworking and manufacturing. Here's another text. Okay, I'm going to go back to that one in a minute. Good morning, Mr. Newry and Aaron. Water and Sewer said that the payment was changed to monthly because people have water leaks, and a quarterly bill would be too long, and leaks may have been occurring for that period. Stop. Texter, I appreciate that you are only sharing what it is that you were told. Does that make any sense? Aren't they supposed to be sending out inspectors anyway? Like, you have an island-wide grid. Aren't you going to send people out regularly to conduct maintenance and to observe those grids? And since they're underground, you're going to get the type of equipment that'll help you track water leaks underground, right? Like, that's what I expect in 2025. Don't be like BTC and Alive and know that we've had island-wide power outages and multiple surges, and you don't come out and conduct maintenance or any type of assessment on your equipment, and then you ignore your customers calling in over and over again saying there's a problem. Don't be like BTC and Alive, surely understanding there's been an increase in seismic activity in the region, right? There's been an increase in development in the region, and there's been a decrease in the quality of construction of roads. Water and Sewage should be conducting these types of assessments regularly, and I just trying to figure out where you go to get the application to do the job, to get the job you don't have to do.
Okay, let's read next.
All right, next text, Mr. Newry, Ms. Green. Drivers are now driving west and north, respectively, on the south and eastbound lane that leads out of Potter's Key. And then in another text, a young female driver pulled out in front of me at Wolf Road in Blue Hill. As she pulled onto Blue Hill, she was boldly talking on the phone with her hand held high to her mouth as she obnoxiously stared in my face. This real foolishness running amok. No, it is a joke. It is a joke. And I hold this space on the radio, and I find it difficult to balance, right? Because I'm looking at big grown adults who should know better and do know better and have very important jobs, but on the road, they practice in foolishness daily.
I see a number of people going the opposite end of the bridge, going over to Paradise Island. Mm-hmm. They purposely go in the opposite way and recording themselves driving. That could be a serious accident in the future, no?
You mean on the bridge is elevated almost, how many feet is that above there? 100 feet? That bridge? The one where a car could topple over and crush and hit other people?
And kill people. And they just doing it for voyeurism.
All right.
And to record themselves doing it fully.
Here's another text. Gang, an easily identifiable group of individuals congregating together. Call the police. We got that new crime bill now. Another text. I recall when Michael Pintard raised concerns about Deputy Commissioner Anthony Roll's appointment. I don't know the gentleman, but was puzzled why Pintard would say he did not have the skills or capacity to function in that role. That's a very strong statement.
I think the government responded to him and explained or decried.
Here's my thing. How come you have 2 deputy commissioners and none of them in charge of traffic? None of them respond. Like, you have 2, you got an extra deputy commissioner hanging out, and none of the 2 taking responsibility for traffic?
One in charge of urban renewal.
Here's a text. Don't forget the increase in sonic booms.
I thought about that.
And its impact on public infrastructure. Another text says they send the bill, the water and sewerage bill, to your email. Imagine all the people that don't have email.
Say email.
The text says you didn't read the rest of your text. No, I didn't read the rest of the texter because I can let Newry read it. Not out loud.
Yeah.
Let him not out loud.
Let's talk with the Cubans then. Let's talk with the Cubans then for the last 7 minutes.
Headline in today's Tribune. You don't want to talk about first conviction under Animal Protection Act?
Let's talk with the Cubans then.
Cubans take home pay less than 16%. Just before we go, I want you to know a Surrey driver that uses his horse like a weapon, thinking that they could do whatever they want on the road because you will be afraid to hit a horse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not them. It's a different story. Cubans take home pay, quote, less than 16%, close quotes. Health workers hired by Bahamas government paid under $1,200 monthly, close quotes. Cuban medical professionals in the Bahamas may have received as little as 8 to 16% of what the government paid for their services, according to purported contracts and agreements published by a U.S.-based human rights group, reviving scrutiny of an arrangement Bahamian officials had recently defended. The documents leaked by the Free Society Project, Cuba Archive, suggested while the Bahamas agreed in 2023 to pay thousands of dollars per month for each Cuban health worker, the professionals received monthly stipends ranging from $990 to $1,200. The rest, between 84 and 92%, appears to have gone to CSMC, a Cuban state agency that manages overseas deployment. So, I don't understand what I just read.
I'm assuming that they're saying that the Cubans take home $300 a week. That's their going home money after they work. These are Cuban doctors and Cuban nurses that make $300 a week.
No. The organization suggests that while the Bahamas agreed in 2023 to pay thousands of dollars per month for each Cuban health worker, the professionals received monthly stipends ranging from $990 to $1,200. Between 84 and 92% appears to have gone to this Cuban state agency. That suggests to me that $990 to $1,200 is 84.
No, that's the remainder after the 84. It's 84, and then there's a 16%. The 16% is the $900, which comes up down to about $300 per week for a Cuban professional.
$1,200 a month to be a nurse. How much is a Bahamian nurse paid?
A month?
Yeah.
They get about, $500-600 a week.
So between 2,000 and...
Yeah, about $2,500 a month.
2,000 and 2,400 a month.
Yeah, and they're saying that the equivalent...
They're taking home half of that.
They're taking half of that. They're taking home about $300 a week.
Okay.
But they're saying $300 a week for a doctor. Is that an abuse?
Is it based...
For a specialized doctor.
Are there considerations based on what a Cuban doctor will make in Cuba?
No, we paying them Bahamian money.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is you are making more than a Cuban doctor at home would make.
But you're having Bahamian bills living here with $300 a week.
I don't think that they pay in the bills with the $300 a week. I think that's what's left over.
No, I think the bills they have to pay with that $300. They have all the living expenses comes after that.
No, I don't believe that.
They have the living expenses.
I don't
comes
believe
after.
that.
And that's what the concerns is.
Yeah, but I don't believe that. I don't
be able to interrogate that too.
I don't
Fine.
believe that. I mean, I'll be honest.
So you got to understand that this money is sent out. The majority of money is sent out to the Bahamas, and then what remains here is the $300 for they take care of themselves with to pay light bill, water bill,
Okay, so
grocery.
I'm looking at the Tribune article on the National Youth Guard story, right? And it says during a visit to the base, Davis watched Cohort 4 recruits.
Oh, okay, better. Let me see. Go ahead. More detailed information.
He said initiatives like this show young people can thrive if given opportunity and direction. He should not say things like that. Because you're the one.
And thrive is when you get a job, not going to training. So the thriving comes after the cohort is finished, not that they thriving during the training.
As they transition into internships, they will be placed with national agencies to apply their skills in the field.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go to public service and you apply for the public service job. Why not allow them to apply to the public service or give them a job instead of just doing an internship and they don't have a job? You graduate from the cohort, now you have to you become a first year resident someplace.
It appears they're making it up as they go along. It appears
And now
that they're making it up as they go along.
And we know we have union representatives say they have workers, temporary workers, who work 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years and haven't been made permanent. Why add to that? Right? So, okay, they just interns for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
Because they're just making it up as they go along. There's no actual forethought or cohesion with other government policies or programs. They're just making it up as they go along. It's unfortunate.
I still want to know what happens when they call to duty.
Like, will their employer be mandated to maintain their employment even though they're not right? Like, okay, fires in Grand Bahama, fires in Eleuthera. We send in members from cohorts 1, 2, and 4, say to Andres, big expanse of land. They're going to we expect them to be gone for 2 weeks. They may be gone for a month. What happens? Is the employer mandated to maintain their employment? Is the government going to stipend them? So then they go on half pay. The employer pays them half the pay. The government pays the other half. Is the government responsible for matching the salary that they left? Is there a base salary with other perks?
How long does the certification last for? You said they're going on fire training. Sure, isn't fire training ongoing? So when they finish the cohort, do they go back to school every 3 months, 2 months to make sure that they are equipped with the skills and knowledge that they learned during the cohort, the 10 weeks? Or that's finished? You
Okay.
learn it once.
This article is only 9 paragraphs. And although it had more information in it than the previous article that we read, it does not have that information in it, sir.
So we still don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. It's very concerning. It's not just very concerning because it's state resources. It's concerning because it's young people, right? And you're talking about natural disasters. We still don't know what our natural disaster plan is, right? Like, we still don't, like, how am I supposed to prepare my children? How am I supposed to prepare my youth group, my organization to coordinate with state programs for preparation and recovery from natural disasters?
Let's
natural
talk
disasters.
the next 20-second hurricane. Let's say Hurricane 3, 4 hit. What the organization now? Name. The hurricane organization.
Disaster, DRMA.
Is employed. How do they impact DRMA?
How do they interact with the DRMA?
What is their job? How do we call them? What do they come and do? Is it afterwards or during or for the... I don't know what they do.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Interesting. Anyway, this has been Guardian Radio AM. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Man Down Mashup Wednesday. Of course, you have the College of Bishops coming in. Hopefully you join me in that interview to find out what denomination is this. Right? What do you mean by College of Bishops? They have a number of events happening, and I want to invite them to explain the number of events, but also to interrogate them on what is the College of Bishops in general, so the Bahamian people understand and appreciate with all of they're doing for the Bahamas. Anyway, this has been Guardian Radio AM with CA Newry. Of course, Aaron Green was joining me. Happy post-Easter. Is Easter happy? Or is it like a mourn day? It's a celebration, right? Is it a celebration, Aaron?
I'm a black African woman. I don't know what you're talking about. That have nothing to do with me.
I talk about Yeshua, and he raised again, the black Savior.
The black Messiah?
Yeah.
Of the Coptic Church?
Look where you going. Anyway, this is the Guardian Radio AM. Have a wonderful day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.